Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, beta, today we are taking this question 2 from IAS Economic Optional. Okay, I will go ahead and I will check your answer and I will tell you what mistakes we have done and how we can improve it. Explain the difference between Cournot model of duopoly with similar product and differentiated product. Okay. Cournot model of duopoly explains how firms compete by choosing quantities, where each firm assumes that the rival's output remains constant. Each firm acts as monopolist given the rival's output, solving for its best response function, and Nash equilibrium occurs where best response functions interact. Okay, so first of all, this long story is not required. Right? We do not have to go ahead and tell in detail what Cournot model is about. Okay, no doubt you can explain in one line what Cournot model does, but not more than that. Okay, you can say it's a duopoly model where each firm, tries to maximize its profit given the function of the other firm, and it is with respect to output. Right, it's with the decision making is with respect to output. One line is fine, right, which you have written here. You choose the quantity holding other firms output constant, that much is fine, but there is no need to go ahead and explain in detail how you find the Nash. That's not required. Okay. However, the nature of equilibrium and intensity of competition in Cournot model differs substantially depending upon whether the product produced by firms are similar or differentiated. Not required. You are already proving that. So no need to mention that in introduction. This is not required. Okay. So the introduction of this question is just 2 lines. And those 2 lines go ahead and tell what is Cournot model. And that's enough. Okay. Now, let us go ahead and look at Cournot model with homogeneous product or similar product. Both firms produce identical products that are perfect substitute of each other. As a result, consumers do not differentiate between them. There will be single market demand curve that depends on total output supplied by the 2 firms. Each firm will face the same cost conditions and sell at the same price, which is determined by aggregate output. No. So when you go ahead and we are economic students. I don't know where this answer is written from, but we are economic students. We know how to go ahead and how to prove that we get 1/3 of the output, or how to prove that, where the price is going to be, how the adjustment is going to take place. So, given that we are economic students, we should not be writing an answer which does not involve maths. Right? We have to give the model in this case. Right? You've already written a function here. And it should be on your tips. माने हमें पता है कि whenever the function is p is equal to a minus bq, we know q1 is equal to q2. Given cost is same, cost is small c, we know q1 is equal to q2 is equal to a minus c by 3b. It would not have taken you more than, say, 2 minutes or 3 minutes to write down the entire model. But you cannot solve this answer without writing down that model. You have to show that the profit function of firm 1 will be P into Q1 minus CQ1. You have to differentiate this with respect to Q1 and equate it to 0. And after you have done this, then you will get a reaction function of firm 1. Then you can go ahead and say, वहीं पे आप बोल सकते हो that since firms are symmetric, you are not symmetric, You are not solving for reaction function of firm 2. You will just flip Q1 with Q2, Q2 with Q1 and solve simultaneously. Right? Again, when I go back to your answer, this diagram does not make any sense to me at least. Right? I don't know what this diagram is all about, but why are we drawing this diagram when we know that we can solve this by plotting the best response functions of the two firms and finding out where exactly the two best response functions meet, right? So we know that the equilibrium will happen where the best response functions will go ahead and will meet, right? And that is exactly which is going to be my equilibrium here, A minus C by 3B, right? So this diagram does not make a lot of sense what we want to imply from this diagram. We don't have to mention this in theory, 1/3 of OD and 2/3 of OD, and each firm is revising, etc., etc. There is no revisions which are taking place. This is a simultaneous equilibrium. You are simultaneously deciding how much output should be produced, right? So we are not going ahead and we are not adjusting output again and again and again. We are simultaneously deciding how much output will be produced in the economy, right? Similarly is the case with the second one. Cournot duopoly with differentiated product. Here again, you have to go ahead and you have to solve this model. It is not going to take more than a minute for you to solve, right? So if you can draw the reaction curve here, you should have drawn the reaction curve only here. Only then the two diagrams become comparable. Only then I go ahead and only then I can tell you that अच्छा ठीक है, यहाँ पे reaction forms का equilibrium A minus C by 3B में आता है और वहां पे reaction forms का equilibrium कहाँ पर आता है, right? So only then those reaction forms become equal. And I mean, some people may think कि मैम पूरा mathematical model लिखेंगे क्या? We are just given 10 minutes to solve this. Mathematical model is going to take less time. Mathematical model from an economics student point of view should be on your tips, right? So writing a mathematical model is much easier than going ahead and doing any other thing in this question. So you have to write the mathematical model. इसमें वो model के बिना ये answer बहुत incomplete है, and it does not tell the examiner. I mean, where exactly, how exactly we know it will be 1/3 of the output? Why is this 3 coming in the denominator? How do we know that? Right? We know that because we solved it mathematically. But this is something which is you should know. Okay, if B is going to be 1, my output will be A minus C by B by 3. Right? I know that, okay, if the costs are different, then my output will be A minus 2C1 plus C2 by 3B. These are things which are on our tips. We have solved so many Cournot models. उनका solution हमारे tip पे होना चाहिए, right? So doing this, I think, when I do it with my MA students also, it doesn't take them more than 1 to 2 minutes to write this entire model. So you have to write that model. Similarly for this one, it should not have taken you more than 2 minutes to write this model. Only then you will be able to solve this and get the solution to this one. And the biggest difference between the two models, since the question is saying that, okay, explain the difference between Cournot with similar product and differentiated product. Mane examiner is asking you what difference in terms of the quantity. Examiner is asking you find Q1 star, Q2 star for the two cases, right? So you have to go ahead and you have to do this. And you have to tell something here. क्या चीज बताना जरूरी है? That as long as I'm talking about differentiated product, I have to make sure that B1 should not be equal, B should not be equal to D. Yeah, if you have mentioned B1, D1, so B1 should not be equal to D1. Because if this B and D become equal to each other, अगर ये B और D equal हो जाते हैं, right, that can be taken out common. And If that happens, you'll get back to this model. Okay, so that's the biggest assumption that we have, that the B and the D coefficient cannot be equal to each other. Okay, so you have to make changes in this model. Okay, this is correct. Okay, this is correct. Here also, I mean, Cournot model with equal output share may not always be true, na? Because it will depend on your cost function. You may be selling the same product. You may have exactly same product, homogeneous product, but your marginal costs can be different, right? So not always your output will be same. Your output will be same only when your marginal cost is also equal. Remember, differentiation is not happening because of cost. Differentiation is happening because of the demand function. Okay. So therefore, even when firms have same product, homogeneous product, you may have different cost. जहां पे हमने ये वाला केस किए हुए हैं in the video lectures, we have done these cases with different marginal costs. Or firms may have quadratic cost function. So not always you will see that in equilibrium the output will be same. You can go ahead and you can say that this output share will be same given that the costs are also symmetric. If the cost function is also symmetric, तो हम बोल सकते हैं कि ठीक है, output will be same, but not otherwise, right? So you have to mention when the cost is going to be same, when the output is going to be same. Right? ये कोई generalization नहीं है that with homogeneous product you will always have the output to be same. Okay. Cournot equilibrium with unequal output share is possible. ठीक है. So I hope you will improve up on this answer and you will write the mathematical model for both of them. Right? ठीक है. Okay. Any doubt, any question here? Anything you want to ask in this question?